What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about HBAR today, Hedera hash graph. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 29th day of September. Yes, it's the 29th. We have 22 hours and 35 minutes left in this day. It's a brand new day. 21.5 cents is the price. Had a little bit of a recovery yesterday, Sunday, up 1.5%. That's nice to see. It's very possible that HBAR has found its low. I want to look at the short-term indicators and see if that's valid or if we have reason to believe that we're going to go lower. Looking at this overall range here with these lower lows here, lower highs like this, you could be going through what's called a partial decline, which is where you reach for this trend line, but you didn't quite hit it, did you? And that typically does imply that not only will you move back up, but you'll likely break through with these partial declines. That doesn't mean that it's exactly that. I might not be drawing these lines appropriately. And in fact, let's use an actual straight line here and just see. It's pretty damn partial to me, in my opinion. I'm partial to calling that partial decline right there. But maybe, of course, there is the possibility that it's just a incomplete move to the downside. Perhaps we go a little bit lower. And sometimes fake outs happen too, where you go just through the line and then boom, from there, that's whenever you rip. Sometimes that happens as well. So we're going to look at the short-term stuff. We're going to try to determine what the price is doing. If that sounds good to you guys, hit the like button, subscribe. Let's get into it, all right? Looking at the daily time frame, I am happy with how Sunday came back up a little bit, gave you a little bit of a wick to the downside there, showing on multiple candles, right, here and here, that you can go down here, but you're reluctant to stay down there, right? It's very short-lived that you're anywhere below 21.5 cents, right? Anywhere near 20 cents at all. You don't like that area. There's clear support coming in from this zone, right? Where there once was resistance, you are now finding support. Where there once was support, you are now finding support as well, right? We look at this from an overall low here on the 16th of June that week to the high here from the 21st of July, and you're wicking below the below the 382. Actually, here you did close below it. I think a good goal to have, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but a good goal to have this week for HBAR would be to close above 21.7. So it's 21.7 cents. So no matter how low or high or whatever you do this week, you want this week ending up closing above the 382. If not, if you close 2 weeks below the 382, it's not detrimental. It does open up the chances more for the golden ratio than anything, typically. Typically, doesn't mean always, but typically. And at least the 0.5, right? That wouldn't be good either way for calling for this to be the low. I want to be clear. I'm not calling for this to be the low yet. I'm just saying it's very possible that it is. There's still a solid chance that we could go lower. Absolutely. And we're going to dissect that with the lower time frames in just a second here. I just wanted to get a good look at this, get my bearings overall, and just see where we are. You know, even if you go lower, cool, whatever. Find support, find a higher low, develop this bull flag more. We're gonna rip out of it to the upside and no problem, no time at all, no problem. I want to look at this on the 1 hour time frame, and then we'll zoom out from there. Okay, 1 hour time frame, decent volume there on that pump, nothing to continue with, and a little bit of volume here on the way down. Looks like a breakout. It's nice. I would just like to see you continue more, right? You do have this nice double bottom setup, I have to say. But you got above this point. Why hesitate? Why are you doing this? Move up. I don't like that, right? Just like here. Why hesitate? Move up. Why'd you do that? Now you went down, right? Here, think of it like this, right? Whereas here, you have this kind of double bottom, right? And here's your nipple is what I like to call it right there. You've got this. Here you hesitated. Where if we flip this chart, here you had your double bottom, right? Right there's your nipple. And guess what? Once you got above this, you didn't hesitate. You didn't move up immediately, but you didn't move back down, right? You just kept climbing up. You did have a little pullback here where you found some immaculate support, but you didn't really hesitate. You kept climbing afterwards. You didn't pull back, and so you progressed further. Except instead of it being to the upside, it was really to the downside. You know what I mean? You broke through your midpoint here and you kept going, so you went lower. Where here you're breaking through that midpoint, that nipple, and it's making me think that you've probably come back down with the way that we're acting now. But that might not be the truth. Let's look at these indicators. The RSI is volatile, nothing to go off of here. It is volatile, right? Oversold, overbought, oversold, overbought, very volatile. Stochastics are looking a little bit more bullish, and granted, the RSI looks more bullish than it did last time as well. And the MACD looks all right. I'm not getting really any clear indications. You're at strong points here, but the last couple of times that you've been at these strong points, that's actually been your relative highs. So the 1 hour time frame is probably not going to help us, and that makes sense. We're moving sideways. The indicators are less likely to help you as you're moving sideways. The 4 hour time frame looks nice. I will say the RSI, I really do like this RSI actually. You've got some nice higher lows here, higher highs. Look at that. It's a nice parallel channel. With that being said, you're at the top of the channel, so it makes sense that you come down, but does that mean that you get a lower low? Not necessarily, no. On the flip side of that, are you in an upward sloping trend actually, or are you in a downward sloping trend? Maybe not, no, because if you were, you've broken out of it here, so maybe not, no. You still do have lower highs relative to these highs, but I don't know. You're also at an area that you've rejected before, where you found support before, where you rejected before up here at the 60. I'm curious to see if you find support at the 40 here, or if you break through it. If you break through it, understand you will see lower lows. If you don't break through it, if you hold that 40 area, you'll probably hold a higher low, and in which case that's the low, man, and you're moving up higher. Great. But I would think you move down from here. And that makes so much sense, right? Because off of this channel, you're at the point to reject, so reject. That's fine. 1 hour time frame, you're breaking out. You should continue, but you didn't, so you're going to come back down. Your oscillators and your indicators are hot, so cool off a little bit. That's fine. Stochastics, bullish, but you're also at an area where you could come back down and reject. That's fine as well. And the MACD, I don't mind the MACD. You did have bullish divergence here, but that could have been the move right there. That could have been the bullish divergence resolving itself right there. Curious to see what happens. If you hold 21 cents, I have faith in you, but you go below 21 cents, we're going to likely see lower lows. Somewhere below 20 cents would be my expectation. We'll get into that right now. If anybody's wondering, if they're listening to this video and they're thinking, oh, so you're saying we are going lower, or oh, you're saying that we have found the low, you're not hearing me, because I haven't declared either of those things definitely yet. No, I don't know. If I had to, if you want to put me on the spot like that, if I want to put myself on the spot, because I'm just talking to myself in the microphone here, but you guys are listening, I would say at this point, I do still believe we have lower to go, but that's less derived from this chart than it is comparing it to what I expect Bitcoin to do as well. I expect Bitcoin to come down. The chart's taking a second to load for whatever reason. I expect Bitcoin to come down a little bit lower too. So that does give me a little bit of bearish biasness. But from this chart, from the HBAR chart strictly, it is pretty 50-50. Anything can happen. So I think giving you some if-then statements might be beneficial here, right? Let's take this. Should we take, I think this low to high might be more helpful. Let's see. Yeah. If today closes below 21.4 cents, you likely will go down to 19.4 cents. If today can close, or not even today, if any day can really close above about 22 cents, I would think you're very likely to have found the low here. Ultimately, you need to get above 23.1 cents. Closing a day above there is what will ultimately validate that, in my opinion. But I would start to get excited if you close above this daily high right here. Right there at about 22 cents. I would get excited right there. Continuing out of this. But if you close back below this 1272, 21.4 cents, you close below there, likely you will go down to this golden ratio. And that's perfect. Find support down there. Nothing wrong with that. You found resistance here at this golden ratio, resistance there at that at the same golden ratio, resistance there, support, support, support right there, resistance, resistance. You like your golden ratio, go down and find support at it. It's fine. You like it so much, marry it. Go for it. Find that slightly lower low and then be done with it. Daily time frame. RSI bouncing off the oversold zone. That's a nice look right there. That is a bottoming look. Doesn't mean that it is the bottom. Doesn't mean that it is the low, but that is a low look, man. That is nice. Stochastics coming out of the oversold zone, which is nice, but you need to maintain this, right? This is why, again, you don't want to see that day close below. I think it was, what, 21.4 cents? Was it 21.4 or was it 20.4? I can't remember. It had to have been 21.4. You don't want this to come back into the oversold zone, right? Getting out of it's good. Getting out of it, coming back into it is bad. You don't want to do that. And the MACD, it's just so neutral. It's not helping us. Yes, it's more bearish at the moment, but that doesn't necessarily mean the price has to be bearish. I'm not weighing on this too much on the MACD on the daily time frame here. With all that being said, I do think that we have lower to go. Another fib to help us out here. Let's see. 19.9 cents, 18.7 cents right in the middle there, 19.4 cents. That's the 1414. You found support from this low to high all the way at this 1414, so maybe 19, and that 19.4 cents there is the golden ratio from this low to high as well. It all lines up right there. 1414 support right here. 1414 support based on this fib right there with the golden ratio based on this fib. It's serendipitous. It makes sense that we go to 19.4 cents, but that doesn't mean we have to go there. And understand that's my bias coming out. From the way of this chart, if we're being strict with TA, I would say it's very 50-50 right now. And what gives me that edge of bearishness is what I'm expecting out of Bitcoin, even though this damn chart won't load. Okay, there we go. We're getting it loading up a little bit. One last flush down to about 19.4 cents. That is the call that I'm going to make, unless today can close, let's say, above 22 cents. If we can get above 22 cents, I would start to get optimistic. I'd start to believe that this is the low, that we are doing a partial decline, and that we are running higher. Inevitably, regardless of what happens here, whether we move lower, whether we move higher right now, whatever it is, inevitably HBAR is going to move higher. Inevitably, it will take out these highs that we've seen this cycle already. And the price area that would be in question then would be something of about, I mean, immediately speaking, would be about 55 cents to 82.5 cents. That's your next target area. Here you are at 21 cents now. So massive growth is going to happen. You'll find some turbulence there. You'll do a little dance, whatever, and then you'll continue to rally, I would think, at least to about $1.13 to $1.30, somewhere here. At most to $2.65. And where I think you're going to go is probably somewhere right above $1.70, just below $2, right in this area above your 2272, which if we take into consideration your last cycle's high, do we have it on this chart? We don't have it on this chart, do we? No, we don't have it on this chart. But if we, I don't want to mess with it because my computer's being slow. It's taking forever to load. But I know that if we put this on a chart with all-time history, you take the high to low there, you'd have very similar targets lining up in these exact areas, like $1.30, $1.20, $2.60, $2.20, something like that. And then I think the golden ratio is like right at $1.70. But there's a lot of stuff lining up at this area as well, very significant areas, just below $2, right above $1.70. That's where I think you're going to go ultimately. If not by the end of October, then by the end of the year. Is that your cycle high? Hell no. No, you've got a lot more growth to go. But this is just, your next, I think this area will be your next significant stopping point like you had here or like you had here. This will be a minor stopping point in this area. And then going into the end of the cycle, going into April, May, you should be reaching for targets that are, $10 or above would be my guess. You got a lot of growth to go in a very short amount of time. But that's for the months to come. Most of this video is mainly talking about for the days and the weeks ahead. So I do expect that either this week or next week we will have resolution. We will find our low. And the rest of October should be pretty damn phenomenal. It's not October yet, but we're getting there. I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. I very much believe October is going to be bullish. I just wouldn't be surprised if the first half or at least the first week was bearish to throw people off. It's exactly what happened last year. Take care. Bye-bye.